I'm tempted to just stop working on this and work on Evercraft because I think that would be more fun. Does anyone have an opinion? That's a good question. Because I think I want to work on Evercraft. That's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm going to work on Evercraft. That's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and close this stuff down here. Look at my awesome background I made for the upcoming D&D game. It's a system map. I'm learning Photoshop. So let's go ahead and shut this down and shut this down and shut this down and shut this down. And we can leave that up, I guess. We can kill Redis here and exit. And we've got, that doesn't leave us much, does it? So let's bring up the Evercraft Kata. Here we go. And I had gotten ability scores done when we last did this, so. Evercraft Kata. And we'll just code this guy up. Bring it down here because I decided to put it in the window up above. There's the requirements. I'm using Jest, so we'll go ahead and bring up the Jest documentation because I was in the process of learning Jest. That was one of my goals here. Go to the docs. And in case we need them. So let's look at our code so far. Let's go ahead and run our tests. npm test. Okay, so 46 tests are passing. I had got ability working the way I wanted it to, and the next requirement was character abilities, ability modifiers, modify attributes. So as a character, I want to apply my ability modifiers, I want to apply my ability modifiers to improve my capabilities in combat so that I can vanquish my enemy with extreme prejudice. Add strength modifier to attack, roll, and damage. Double strength modifier on critical hits. Minimum damage is always 1, even on a critical hit. Add dexterity modifier to armor class and add constitution modifier to hit points. And you always have at least 1 hit point, so you can't go to below. You can't go negative just because of that. So I'm feeling this. This is what I should have done. I sort of like, I should work on RedisMUD, but I want to work on Evercraft. I should have just worked on Evercraft in the first place. If your heart's not in it, man, it's just not going to work. So here's my ability. Here's my hero. So hero, we're describing the name up here. That really hasn't changed much. Alignment hasn't changed much. Armor class. So if we have a dexterity bonus, our armor class goes up. We also have abilities. I don't know if I want to write a test to say they have an ability score or not. It's just, I think by using it, we'll find out whether they do or not. So let's look at the armor class and say it defaults to 10. It adds dexterity when hero is. It adds dexterity modifier when hero is zippy. We'll go zippy. There we go. And we can say expect subject dot armor class dot 2b. And I need to call something in here to make this actually do something. But we'll set it to 12, and then we'll give them a subject dot dexterity dot score. Did I do how did I do ability there? I did it with, yeah, we got a method. We got a setter. Scored equal to what would give us a +2 bonus. That would be 12 would be a +1, so 14. So we'll set it to 14 and expect to get an armor class of 12. And we don't. So we have a failing test. Let's look at the hero here. In fact, let's close all the others. Open up the hero. And so right now our armor class is here. And we don't have a dexterity at all. Factor error probably said something along the lines of cannot set property score of undefined. Yes, of course. So we need to have a dexterity. So we get the name, the alignment, armor class, hit points, is alive, damage. I'm going to put ability scores right up here after alignment. That feels like a good place for it. So get dexterity, dexterity, GT, not GT, get dexterity, return this dot underscore dex. And then up here in the constructor, we'll say this dot underscore dex equals new ability. And now they have an ability. And the error message changes because we can actually do something. Cool. That there actually is a dexterity. So if we go to armor class, we can return 10 plus this dot dexterity dot modifier. And that should pass. And lo and behold, it does. It does. Cool. Check. Armor class. Add constant. I always do armor class first, even though it's second on the list, because it's really easy. We're going to do constitution modifier to hit points next. So we'll say defaults to 5. It goes down when damaged. It's... Oh, actually, I want to write another test here, just to be... I'm going to say it includes dexterity modifier when hero is zippy. I'm going to go ahead and add a negative scenario here too. It includes dexterity modifier when hero is sluggish. Now the way I implemented it, it's going to work anyhow. So 10, 8, we'll go down to 6. That'll bring your armor class to an 8. And that still passes. So hit points defaults to 5, and it goes up when when hero is buff. So if we got a buff hero here, we can expect subject dot constitution dot score equal to 14, and then we can expect the hit points to be 7. And then we'll have a corresponding one for down, but we also want to make sure that they can't go below 0. We need a constitution. So we'll say this dot underscore con equals new ability. There's going to be a lot of these, isn't there? Get constitution, return this dot underscore con. Quite honestly, we could do this because there's not a lot going on in these guys. There we go. Now we've got a constitution score, but our hit points don't go up. So we need to do something similar here. So 5 plus this dot constitution dot modifier. Need a plus sign there, don't I? Plus signs help. And then that passes. Hooray! We got a passing test. Okay. And then we're going to say it goes down when hero is sickly. That'll work. We'll give it a 6, and that should take us down 2 hit points. So that give us 3. That still passes. It cannot go below 0 because of constitution. So we'll give them a constitution of 1. That'll be a -5 penalty. which should take us to 5 minus 5 would be 0, but that won't do, and so we want it to be 1. But basically, if you're making a character and you got a really crappy constitution, you shouldn't be dead just because your constitution is a 1. That's no fun. So what that means we need to do here is we need to do math.min of this and 1. And that should make it pass. Is it math.min? Min? And it wants, I think it wants them in an array. No? What's my error? No. Is math.min not a function in JavaScript? Well, let's go find out. Math.min returns the lowest valued number passed into it or not a number if any parameter isn't a number and can't be converted into one. So it just takes the parameters. So it's not math.min, it's math.max. I want the maximum of those two values. That passes. So, cool. I almost think I want to have like a maximum hit points and then a current hit points, because I think that might make this a little easier to distinguish what we're doing here. And so right now we have we're testing the hit points, and then they go down when they're damaged. But there's a lot of interplay happening here, and we're keeping track of it all. But it's I think it's going to make the testing messy. So I'm gonna call hit points be the hit points you have, and then current hit points is going to be the things that go down when you get damaged. So let's add let's copy this. And say we got hit points, and we want hit points to just be what it is. We want current hit points. In fact, let's say it doesn't go down. And that'd still be 5. And then here we can say current hit points. It defaults to 5. Goes down when damaged. And then this becomes not hit points, but current hit points. And that doesn't exist, so then we'll add hit points, and we'll say get current hit points. And that'll be this dot hit points minus this dot damage. And this will just be the max of 5 plus your constitution modifier, or 1. Is alive is not working, probably because is alive looks at hit points and not current hit points. That's fine. That's easy enough to fix. And then I've got some other tests that are expecting things like that to be true. So the attack spec. Let's look for hit points. Yeah. Look for dot hit points. Current. There we go. Cool. So now we have hit points and current hit points. I think that's a good distinction between the two. So we got the constitution modifier working. Now we need to add the strength to attack rolls and damage dealt. Double strength modifier on crit hits. Minimum damage is always 1. So in attack, let's look at the attack spec. When a roll is less than armor class, when a roll meets armor class, when a roll beats armor class, when a roll is a natural 20, and we measure how much damage was taken. And I want to see that I can roll with lower numbers and still hit. I think that's what we want. So, do I want to do that in attack? Or do I want to, I probably, what I'm inclined to do is create some things that are on the hero. So we'll have a attack damage, a crit damage, which would be properties on the hero. We would just go and ask, this is how much damage I do when I hit. This is how much damage I do when I crit. This is my bonus to attacks, so my attack modifier. And then we can just verify that in different scenarios the attack modifier is applied. I feel like that might make the tests in the attack object a little easier. And sort of give almost a spreadsheet-like quality or a character sheet-like quality to the hero. So this is what I tend to do when I do the Evercraft Kata. So I think I'm gonna do it. So let's go to the hero and say the guy is alive. They got current hit points. We've got describe, attack damage. Damage, attack damage, and it defaults to 1. Attack damage to be 1. And so let's make that pass. So we'll put that down here under damage. So get attack damage, return 1. Whoa, don't want to dim it. That passes. Go back to my hero spec, and attack damage, it goes up when it adds strength. How did I word that on the other one for the hit points? Goes down when hero, yeah, it goes up. It goes up when hero is strong, is beefy, is a thick boy. I'm gonna go with beefy, actually. I like beefy better. I'm not 16. I don't say thick boy. But my 16-year-old does all the time. So we'll say subject.strength equals dot score is going to equal to 14. That'll give us a +2. And so our attack damage should be 3. And it's complaining that there is not a strength score. So lo and behold, we will be adding a strength. And we'll say get strength. And we will be returning this _stir. And then down here, attack damage will be 1 plus this .strength .modifier. And that passes. Hooray! It goes up when hero, not here, it cannot go below 1. So we'll give ourselves a weakling, and the damage is still going to be 1. And expecting -1 to be 1, so it is doing the math. And so we can do, again, math.min or math.max, that or 1. Cool. And then we'll do the same thing for critical damage. It defaults to 2. And so, and this is going to then become 6, and this is still going to be 1 down here. And it's complaining that critical damage doesn't exist, so we'll add a critical damage. And it's just attack. It'd be 2 plus strength modifier times 2 or 1. And that doesn't pass. Why doesn't that pass? Because it's called, it's not called critical damage. Because copy pasta, that's why. Good old copy pasta. So attack roll and damage dealt. So we got critical, minimum damage. All we have left now is an attack modifier. So let's add the attack modifier to the hero. So describe attack modifier. And it defaults to 0, goes up when the hero is beefy, goes down when the hero isn't. Defaults to 0. So we expect it to be 0. When the hero is beefy, it's going to go up. So we'll expect it to be a +2. When they're wimpy, it'll go down. Expect that to be a -2. It's and this is, it goes down. And I'm cheating down here a little bit because I'm doing multiple tests. But I know, for example, these 2 tests are just going to do what they do. So actually, let's append these so that we're actually just testing the first that one test. Let's be good TDDers, right? Get attack modifier, return this dot strength dot modifier. That passes. Actually, I should do that. That'll pass. And then do that to uncomment those. And then put the modifier there. But the attack modifier for right now is just your just another name for your strength modifier. So the hero has all of these things in play now. The attack object does not make use of them. So let's get that happening. Let's look at the attack spec. When a roll is less than armor class, when a roll meets armor class. So describe. So this is, let's say it applies attack modifier to attack rolls. Okay, so that let's do a let's give ourselves a hero. It'd be the attacker. Is it the attacker, do we call it? We don't have the attacker yet. We finally need the attacker. Attacker equals new hero. Pass in the attacker. This is good. Attacker dot strength dot score code equals 14. And now we're going to pass in. We're going to resolve the attack with a roll of 8, and that should still hit. And expect defender hit to be true. Because you need to hit armor class 10 on the defender, and so that should hit. Now this isn't working because we don't have an attacker. So let's add the attacker. So now we have an attacker. Still not working, of course. Is it a hit? That's going to be equal to roll plus this dot underscore attacker dot attack modifier. If that is greater than the defender's armor class, then it hits. Note that the crit is still on a roll of 20. And I could really say, I mean, since the 20 always hits, I could really just get away with that. If it's a crit, do this. Else, if it's a hit, do this. Otherwise, don't do anything. Let's take a look at our spec again. So that's working. I'm going to do a describe when hero is beefy, because there's a couple things that happen when we do that. It hits more easily. We do test because I'm not as hero hits more easily when the attacker is beefy, and we'll go with it. It hits more easily. And then we can do it before each on here. For each. And then we can make the attacker beefy in the before each. Hey, Brandonius. Is that a vomit emoji that you're trying to do there? I can't really see what it is. Pasta that. Copy. It's copy pasta. I thought you were commenting on the previous stuff about throwing code and just vomiting code out. Yeah, I was originally working on, it says I'm doing RedisMUD, but I changed my mind and wanted to do Evercraft, so about halfway through stream I switched projects. What the hell, right? So we've got our attacker, he's beefy. And so when he's beefy and we hit, it hits more easily. And I guess that means it misses less easily. And so if we have a 7, then that's going to be a miss. And it does more damage. So we'll say we'll do a hit here, and then we'll expect the defender. We'll get the previous hit points. And then the defender. So we gave this guy a beefy +2, so it should be previous hit points -3. We could actually say minus attacker dot. I don't want to do that. That's kind of an ugly mirror. Well, it should be 3. Oh, yeah, I haven't made my test pass yet. So we're saying defender.damage 1, and we should be saying defender.damage this._attacker equals dot attack damage. There we go. That works. And we need something similar for does more damage on a hit. And it does even more damage on a crit. So if we pass in a natural 20 here, then that should be the new value. Should be nice and negative. And then this will be this dot underscore attacker dot crit equal damage. Cool. So I like that. I like how I did that test. So this is just testing sort of the general, everything is the same. When our attacker is beefy, it hits more easily. I should say it incorporates strength modifier. I like it hits more easily. That reads nicely. It misses less easily. It does more damage on a hit. Does even more damage on a critical. I think I kind of might want to put this up here. Just it feels like a good place for it. Which means that this guy can go up here. Previous hit points. And here we're setting it there. We're setting it here. That way we're not setting it here each time. Yeah, the thing I kind of want to do is I want to say previous hit points minus, attacker dot attack damage. But that's pretty much what my code's doing, and so I'm just creating the ugly mirror of what my code's doing. Oh. Yeah, I didn't recognize it as pasta initially, so, anyhow. But that becomes sort of, that's really kind of an ugly mirror. Because if it was calculated wrong, it wouldn't work. Although I've got another test that validates this calculated correctly, so actually I think in this case that might be okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And the only reason I'm doing this, so normally, this would be testing that it does, your code in your test is mimicking the code that's in your implementation, and so if they're both wrong, they'll be wrong together, and your test will not fail when it should. However, I have a secondary test on Hero that is validating that this is calculated the way it should be, and so this should be fine. This should be just fine, and which actually means I could probably get away with it up here too. So rather than doing points here, well, here we would still want it because we got a hit and a miss and a crit. And so this should be This should be attacker. This should be 0. This should be attacker dot attack damage. Will that still work? Is the attacker not in scope? Oh. There we go. How were the other ones passing? If the attacker wasn't up here, attacker equals... I don't know how that was passing. And well, this one's still failing. Cannot read attack damage of undefined. But I just fixed that. There's the attacker, there's the defender. They're both passed into the subject. I literally didn't have that there. And only one of my tests fails. Why is that working? Yeah, Brendan. I'm deliberately trying not to use mocks. I'm trying to use a classist approach to this instead of a mockist approach. Which, yeah, pros and cons, right? But it's something I wanted to try. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Because I'm testing through it. If I was using mocks, I would just validate the interaction with the mock, and that would be my test. And I would just validate that it does indeed call the attack damage, and it's applying it. But I don't understand why this is working the way it is, because it should be broken. Like, this shouldn't work, because the attacker wasn't defined up here. And somehow it is. And I'm confused by this. So I'm going to put this back to 1. And I don't know why this test here isn't passing. Let's give it the focus. Is it just not running those tests? Have I been just like, no, they failed, because I remember I put in bad values and they failed. I know I don't want this one here anymore. That became those guys up there. Goes down to 66. If I pend this, yeah, it's pending it. It's passing. But how is that not being? How is that not? That's not in scope. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know why it's. Is this line? And when I make the guy less strong, anyone see this? It doesn't make any sense. That attacker is not in scope. It's not in scope here at all. It's not. It shouldn't be there. Why is it there? And then when I try to use it elsewhere, it doesn't work. If I define it there, I end up with 2 failures. Okay, I think what happened here might be I was getting away with something because it was undefined, maybe. Because yeah, okay. So now if I comment this out and don't make them strong, It's actually modifying. So I think what was happening here is that attacker didn't exist. And so it was saying .strength.score, and this was erroring, and maybe the before each was probably failing, but then it would go ahead and pull through here. Attacker dot, this would return undefined maybe. Let's see what the error is when it was. When attacker's BV does more damage on hit, expected 4, received 5. Does more damage on a hit. So when I make it correct, so previous hit points is right there. Attacker attack damage. Okay. So it'd be previous hit points. This will be, so they're +2, so this would be -3. Let's hard code it again. I think I might be eating my words about mocking and that kind of stuff. No, it's going down by the right amount. Okay. So that's correct. So up here, I should be able to reference attacker in here as well, right? So it'd be attacker dot attack damage. And it says, cannot read a property attack damage of undefined. Is it because I'm defining an array here? I wonder if the before each hasn't happened yet. If that's the problem here. Let's try this. Yeah, so that then passes. Okay, so the problem here is that the before each hasn't triggered before these scenarios do. So that means I can't do that. Well, that'd be nice if I could. I would make it a little more semantic, but I guess I see why you can't. Because describe.each is happening before the before each. And yeah, I think that's really the only way to do it. Yeah, that'll work. It's good enough. So we're seeing that we can hit more easily. I think that finishes out that requirement, doesn't it? Attack, roll, and damage dealt. Okay. So let's go ahead and commit these. Quit. Nope, not that. Git status, git add dot, git commit -m, abilities, ability modifiers affect stats. Git push. There we go. Cool. Okay, so what's the next capability here? Character can gain experience when attacking. As a character, I want to accumulate experience points when I attack my enemies so that I can earn bragging rights at the tavern. When a successful attack occurs, the character gains 10 experience points. And then we got leveling. I want to... I'm looking at the time here, like, do I want to keep going? I don't know. This would be adding experience points. This would be adding leveling. As a character, I want my experience points to increase my level and combat capabilities so that I can bring vengeance to my foes. So you start out at level 1. After 1,000 experience points, you gain a level. You gain a level every 1,000 experience points. For each level, your hit points increases by 5 plus your Constitution modifier. And you add 1 to your attack roll every other level. Yeah, that sounds like a bit much for as late as it is. I think I'm going to wrap it up. So, yeah. Well, we got a little bit further there. I wish I would have started with this instead of messing around with RedisMUD, quite frankly. My heart's way more in this, and I feel a little more energized doing this. So, but I think I'm going to wrap up the stream here. So, yeah. I guess the next question is, whom shall we raid? I'm going to click raid channel and see who's out there. Fierce Kitten is streaming right now. I don't know what she's doing. She could be coding. She could be sewing, because she likes to do that on stream as well. But she's someone I follow that's streaming right now, so I think a raid is deserved. So I think she's usually doing Python, but I'm not positive. I might be getting confused. But if anyone else has any suggestions on someone to raid, we'll raid them instead. Otherwise, we're going to sign off here, and I'll go ahead and trigger the raid. So thanks for watching, everyone. And my next stream will be on Friday during the day. I think I'm going to do some more ephemeral graph with Java. I'd like to see how that pans out. So until Friday, bye.